Have you ever noticed that when anxiety kicks in, everything feels harder to handle? Your thoughts race, your body feels tense, and strangely, sounds seem sharper, louder, or harder to process. Conversations feel overwhelming, background noise becomes unbearable. You might even feel like you're not hearing as clearly as you normally do. Most people assume this is just being anxious, but what if anxiety is actually changing the way you hear? Today, we're going to answer a question many people quietly wonder about, but rarely hear explained clearly. Can anxiety affect your hearing? And more importantly, what does science actually say about it? The short answer is yes, anxiety can affect hearing, but not in the way most people think. And once you understand how this works, a lot of confusing symptoms suddenly start to make sense. Let's start by clearing up a common misconception. Hearing is not just an ear function. Your ears collect sound, but your brain decides what that sound means. It filters, prioritizes, interprets, and organizes everything you hear. That means your emotional and mental state plays a much bigger role in hearing than most people realize. Anxiety is not just a feeling, it's a full-body state driven by your nervous system. When you're anxious, your body shifts into a heightened alert mode. This is sometimes called the fight or flight response. Your brain becomes focused on detecting potential threats, not on comfort, clarity, or efficiency. And this shift has consequences. When anxiety is present, your brain reallocates resources. It prioritizes survival-related signals over subtle processing tasks. Unfortunately, hearing clarity and focus fall into those subtle tasks. One of the first things anxiety disrupts is attention. Listening requires focused attention. Your brain has to decide which sounds matter and which ones can be ignored. When anxiety is high, attention becomes scattered. Your brain tries to monitor everything at once. This is why anxious people often say things like, "Everything sounds too loud," or "I can't focus on what people are saying," or "Noise really bothers me." It's not that your ears suddenly became more sensitive, it's that your brain stopped filtering efficiently. Science supports this. Research shows that anxiety increases sensory sensitivity. The brain becomes more reactive to incoming stimuli, including sound. This heightened reactivity can make normal sounds feel intrusive or overwhelming. At the same time, anxiety interferes with auditory processing. Auditory processing is the brain's ability to interpret and make sense of sound. When anxiety is high, processing speed and accuracy can decrease. Words may sound jumbled. Conversations may feel harder to follow, especially in noisy environments. This creates a frustrating experience. You can technically hear sounds, but understanding them takes more effort. That effort drains mental energy. This is why anxiety is often linked to listening fatigue. Listening fatigue is the mental exhaustion that comes from trying to process sound under strain. The more effort your brain uses to interpret sound, the faster you feel drained. Anxiety accelerates this process. Another way anxiety affects hearing is through muscle tension. Anxiety often causes chronic tension in the jaw, neck, shoulders, and head. This tension can subtly affect how sound vibrations are transmitted and perceived. It can also contribute to sensations like pressure, fullness, or discomfort around the ears. Anxiety also affects blood flow. When you're anxious, circulation is redirected toward large muscle groups to prepare for action. This can temporarily reduce efficient circulation to the inner ear and certain areas of the brain involved in hearing and focus. Even subtle changes in circulation can affect sensory clarity. There's also the role of stress hormones. Anxiety increases cortisol and adrenaline. While these hormones are helpful in short bursts, chronically elevated levels can interfere with memory, attention, and sensory processing. High cortisol has been shown to impair the brain's ability to filter irrelevant information. That means more noise gets through, less clarity remains. This is why anxiety often makes hearing problems feel worse, even if hearing tests come back normal. The issue isn't always damage, it's processing efficiency.
Now let's talk about tinnitus, because anxiety and tinnitus are deeply connected. Tinnitus is the perception of sound when no external sound is present, such as ringing or buzzing. Anxiety doesn't necessarily cause tinnitus, but it can amplify it. When you're anxious, your brain pays more attention to internal sensations. It scans for problems. If tinnitus is present, anxiety increases awareness of it. The sound feels louder, more intrusive, and harder to ignore. This creates a feedback loop. Tinnitus increases anxiety, anxiety increases tinnitus perception. The same pattern applies to hearing sensitivity. Anxiety heightens awareness. Awareness increases discomfort. Discomfort reinforces anxiety. Science refers to this as a top-down effect. The brain's emotional state influences how sensory input is perceived. Hearing is not immune to this effect. Another important factor is prediction. Your brain constantly predicts what it expects to hear. This makes listening efficient. Anxiety disrupts prediction. The brain becomes uncertain and hypervigilant. It stops trusting patterns. This makes processing slower and more effortful. Again, more effort equals more fatigue. Over time, this combination of heightened sensitivity, reduced filtering, and increased effort can make people feel like their hearing is getting worse. They may avoid social situations. They may feel overwhelmed by sound. They may start to worry that something is seriously wrong. This worry feeds anxiety. Anxiety feeds hearing difficulty. The cycle continues. Here's the critical point. Anxiety-related hearing issues are usually functional, not structural. That means they are about how the system is operating, not about permanent damage. And that matters, because functional issues can improve when the underlying state improves. This doesn't mean anxiety is all in your head. It means your nervous system is influencing how your sensory systems work. And that's a real biological process. Understanding this can be incredibly relieving. Many people fear they're losing their hearing, when what they are actually experiencing is anxiety-driven processing strain. Now let's talk about focus, because hearing and focus are inseparable. They share the same cognitive resources. When anxiety consumes those resources, both hearing clarity and focus suffer. This is why anxious people often report brain fog, difficulty concentrating, and mental exhaustion alongside hearing issues. The brain is overloaded. So what does science suggest helps? First, reducing anxiety often improves hearing clarity and listening comfort, not because the ears changed, but because the brain regained its ability to filter and process sound efficiently. Second, supporting nervous system regulation is key. When the nervous system shifts out of constant alert mode, sensory processing becomes smoother. Third, addressing hearing health proactively can reduce uncertainty and cognitive strain. When the brain receives clearer signals, it doesn't have to work as hard. This is why modern approaches increasingly look at hearing, anxiety, and brain health together, instead of treating symptoms in isolation. People who focus on calming the nervous system, supporting circulation, reducing oxidative stress, and improving overall sensory processing often notice subtle but meaningful changes. Sounds feel less intrusive, conversations feel easier, mental fatigue decreases. Not because anxiety vanished overnight, but because the system became more balanced. The goal is not to eliminate anxiety completely. Anxiety is part of being human. The goal is to prevent it from hijacking your sensory and cognitive systems. If you've ever felt that anxiety makes it harder to hear or focus, science supports your experience. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. Understanding this connection allows you to stop blaming yourself. It allows you to shift from fear to curiosity, from frustration to informed action. Anxiety can affect your hearing, but it doesn't have to define your experience. If you'd like to learn more about how people are supporting their hearing and mental clarity while reducing nervous system strain, there's a resource linked below that explores this approach in more detail. It explains the science behind it and why many adults are choosing to support their hearing and brain health together instead of treating symptoms in isolation. You don't need to decide anything right now. Just take a look, learn something new, and see if it resonates with what you've been experiencing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.